let's do it now. Last time, this is take 2, by the way. Last time I had this all by myself. Mike didn't even have to trick me, but this time was a little trick. Here we are.
Yeah, we switched our vehicle of taping because we're 12 minutes in and it just cut off on its own. The battery's fine, everything's fine. They just decided to cut off the recording as we're touching on touchy things. This is just what happens when you work in a demonic realm trying to spread light.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're trying to get information out there. I got a hit from the galactics this morning, information that we're trying to get out to starseeds and anyone else who feels that they have a higher purpose. It might be difficult to tell if you are working with the galactics, but if you have this really strong desire and need to help other people, then you're probably one of our starseeds.
Yes, absolutely. And, again, this is a critical time. This is why most of us have come for this period in time, to help the transition into a better timeline as we are leaving the Kali Yuga behind. And of course, the Bronze Age is a age of discovery, and it's of information. Again, light is information. Light is what brings about gnosis and understanding. And the awakening of the masses right now is ongoing and is something that the dark side is trying to do their best to navigate through and maintain control of the system. Now, they know that they have only a little bit of sand left in their hourglass, so to speak, because the sun will trigger the splitting off and the total conclusion of their reign on the earth realm at a certain point in time. Just to recap what we've gotten from the galactics, and this is going back, I want to say 2019, 2020, was that somewhere in the mid 2040s, at least back then, that was the time frame we were getting for the solar flash that would change consciousness forever. So, they have about 20 years, perhaps at most, to still kind of control a portion of humanity. They're losing their grip on this. And they know this, but they want to just basically get as many humans as possible to stay on board with the control system, even as the control system is going to be basically changing in front of our very eyes, because people are awakening. And the awakening, it's like fishing on a pond. And, hey, this lure, it worked for all these years. I never had to think about trying anything different because it worked for all these years. But, well, now it's not working, and the fish aren't biting as much. Well, I'm going to have to pull out something else to try and see, can I get them to bite on this? Again, it's like, well, there's the stick and then there's sugar. And sometimes you have to switch your tactics and use sugar instead of the stick to get the being that you're trying to coerce into doing what you want them to do it. So this is all part of that bigger plan, and this is the bigger plan that Elon takes a good part in. But yet, at the same time, we are seeing that there are people that are waking up to the degree where they don't trust anything in the system anymore. And that is wonderful, because again, this system, everything we see, every aspect of it, has been controlled and created by the dark matrix within the natural matrix. And the light is shining hard and strong every day, and it's exposing that. So they're going to have to change their tactics.
So the information that I got that was a hit from the galactics this morning was a knock on the door as soon as I saw the image of the snake eating its tail in Chinese zodiac year. That's really important to note. 2025 is the snake eating its tail. So I that couldn't have stuck to me any harder, and it's that knock 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 that I'm accustomed to, and it's when they say, okay, this is a time that you starseeds need to watch. It's like a walkie-talkie. I mean, some have the information to then send to others so that others can take the information and prepare with it to a very high degree. So I also look for something to back up that original knock, and then I realized Jupiter moving into Taurus 2025 as well, and that's in Vedic terms, Vedic astrology.
That's May, right?
So yeah, then May. So that's something to keep an eye on too. Most of the time it depends on where your specific Jupiter is. Is your Jupiter in a good place? Is it not in a good place? Is it going to bring fortune, or is it going to bring hardship? Regardless of where it's at, we need to be ready with tangibles. We need to be ready with things that are going to help us. And tangibles include your skill sets. You know, are you someone who understands, I hate calling it alternative medicine, because plant medicine was the original medicine. And it's those controllers who now call it alternative, and that word alternative scares a lot of people because they think it won't work. But if you really think about it, you know, the scripts that they give us, if they actually worked, you wouldn't need to refill it over and over and over. It's more of a poison that you're putting in your body, and you're covering it up with duct tape, and the rest of your body is falling apart. We need to fix the original problem in our body, and there's people with medical knowledge and healing abilities that can help assess that. So skill sets are going to be important. Tangibles are going to be very important. And understanding, you know, you are a starseed. If you're listening to us, chances are you're a starseed, because we have a certain soul stream of people that we work with, and we are all on this mission together. Are we going to have disagreements? Absolutely. Are we going to have different belief systems? Absolutely. But we need to work around that and get past it.
So a headline that jumped out at me was like $41 billion missing from the World Bank, and it has to do with their climate change fund. 41 billion. So it hit me that, wow, okay, that's a massive amount of money. Of course, it's just digits. There's nothing really there necessarily. Most banks, in case you don't realize it, their capitalization rate is single digits. What's capitalization rate? You know, I'm not somebody that really enjoys economics. It's nothing that gets me happy and fluffy and excited, not in the least. But you know, I have read into it, and I've followed the history. But the system that we have in place is a dark system. It is the dark matrix system. It is all about manipulation and deception. That's just the bottom line. That's what this system is intended for. There's a reason why nobody can really understand the tax code. It's meant to be that way. So those that are part of the system and really willing to sell out those that are not part of the system, just simply in the system, can utilize that to their advantage and get away with literal quote-unquote murder economically. And what we're at right now is very, very similar to what's happened before. And just look back to, well, you could look back to World War I. What did we have? You know, we had a global war that broke out, and it changed the power structure in the world at the end of it. It finished with the Spanish, quote-unquote, Spanish flu pandemic, which again, if you watch the two videos that we put out yesterday on Patreon and on Evolutionary, as well as, again, one of those videos, the Patreon exclusive, was even touchier than the one that went up on Rumble, Brighteon, BitChute, and YouTube. If you watched it, you know, there's again the key personnels, those Rocky Fellers, those Red Shields, and all the other families, bloodlines, again, the insiders, so to speak. We could go back to kingship being left by the gods, in the plural, from on high, you know, again, those that came from out there to here, and left certain bloodlines in charge while they disappeared into the shadows. Well, just doing other things. Leave those that are trained behind. This is what the Roman Empire did. The Roman Empire is modeled on the system, the draconian reptilian system. It would conquer an area, find who they could get within a certain tribe. Let's just say, whether it's the Gauls or the Celts, or the Anglos, the Jutes, they would, whoever they took over, they would find those that they could, quote unquote, trust to send them the taxes and the tribute, and also in times of war, their best young men to go fight for the empire, and they would go. They would leave. Sometimes they might leave a garrison. Sometimes, they wouldn't leave anybody necessarily, but the ones that they trusted to carry out their orders in place. This is what we have right now on the planet. This is what's been in place on the planet for thousands of years. So what they're doing is part of a, you could look at it as a threefold plan. It's really even bigger than that, but the economic situation, the global war, and also obviously it's all about the health and well-being of the people on the planet not being such that they can live long enough, healthy enough lives to have a clear enough mind where they can perceive what's really happening. Again, you have to keep them trapped in a survival mode, concerned with day-to-day things, so they can't see the bigger picture. They have to be traversing a trail, going through a territory that's always filled with mines and traps. And last night in the middle of the night, I let the dogs out, and I couldn't get this phrase that it was like the guides had said to me: the spiders are weaving their webs. The spiders are weaving their webs. Well, what does a spider do? It weaves a web, it sits back, and it waits for something to come in contact with the web and gets stuck. Then it goes out and gets its prey. This is what they're doing right now. And as I'm saying this to you, I feel, again, I've always felt that when we're talking about Bitcoin and all forms of CBDC digital currencies, I just think there couldn't be anything more dangerous than something that's not actually tangible, and something that's totally in the control of somebody that you don't really have any say in what they're doing. Yes, I could read the propaganda, and I know a lot of people have bought into Bitcoin and the like, and if you are of strong stomach, oh yeah, you could probably double and triple your money quicker doing those type of things, which are high risk in my opinion, than with other ventures. But again, it's the insiders that are part of the control system that know what's planned when. So they are spiders webbing the whole area in order to trap us. They are, again, fishermen out there knowing they have to change the lure. So if they change the lure, because the fish haven't been, a big portion of the fish are not biting at all anymore. And so again, when the stick no longer works and you have a stubborn donkey, maybe you try an apple to coax it along. And this is where Gesara and Nasara comes in. This is where different political people that are still in the system come in. This is where, you know what we're going to do? We're going to abolish the Fed. We're going to abolish the IRS. I love that idea. That's great. Don't stop there. That's just the beginning, though. Because the reality is everything of this system is of the dark matrix. It all has to go. It all is going to go. So again, just be very aware of being baited, lured into that web, because it is a tangle web indeed.
Yeah, I mean, normally I love spiders, but when Mike told me that, it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and this is not the kind of spider I'm accustomed to. I see spiders as very creative entities weaving these absolutely beautiful webs out of creativity. But lately, the message through spiders has not been a good one, and it's hit other people too. I just didn't hear the words from the galactics until this morning. This is from the galactics. So many of you know I used to channel, and I still do channel in different ways, but right now this is what my body's becoming accustomed to until I can go into deeper and deeper states of trance, they definitely knock on that door and make themselves known. So this message is very much from the galactics, and it's to the star seeds that are tied to the galactics. Many people are going through the awakening process right now, and some people unfortunately did a thing, and that is definitely to waylay. That is to waylay, and it's to cause problems in the physical body. And when there's problems and blocks in the physical body, it's not going to allow you to have the foresight to do the things that you need to do, and until you are able to clear that vessel. And that's possible through things like energy work. It's possible through major detox. I would say sweating. But you have to take the time for yourself and help guide others.
Oxygen, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
oxygen and
oxygen.
ozone.
Yeah.
These are keys for us, and we've been very, very busy lately. I mean, we're always busy, and we're blessed to stay busy. Every day is full. Every day is how much can we jam into it, and that is a blessing. And we do. I personally, again, do not view this world as evil. Not at all. The system in place is evil. This world is quite different from that. Again, Tiamat herself is not a dark entity, and people are led to believe that. And when we look to the Sumerian tales, they paint her as a dragon energy. But then again, not all dragons are dark, and not all dragons are Draco. This is part of, again, that tangled web. And I think to Bohemian Grove, isn't it Bohemian Grove that has the spiders saying something about weaving webs?
Yeah, and the owl.
It is, right, with the owl. And the reality is, again, this is how the system lays traps. 2025 is the year, I think, that they're going to change the monetary system, or try to instill that change in a more outward manner. They will do it by laying traps, and they always have war, they always have plague, and they always have economic change coming around at the same time in one way, shape, or form. This is just what the system does. They use the same tools over and over, and in fact, sometimes they're exactly the same. They haven't changed anything but the words, the terminology. But if you look at it, it's exactly the same playbook. What we started to go through in 2020, or 2019, if you want to be actually specific, is exactly, it's like 1914 replaying itself, that 1914 to 1918. It's the same cast of characters. One of the reasons why I did those two videos on the Rocky people, and the historical events was, again, if you didn't notice, there was articles in the news that were talking about laws that went into effect to make it legal for the government to use its own troops on its own people. This just went into effect in recent, laws, and again, everything. When it gets down to it, they break their own laws. But again, they telegraph everything way ahead of time. We are heading into a period in which they are trying like hell to create civil war. This is really what they want before, and I've said this going back to, on record right now, you could watch a video going from January of 2018. I initially put it out about 2 months earlier, but so many of my videos got taken down by YT. Literally, Evolutionary had like 4,000 videos, and I think it has maybe 500 or 600 at the moment. Because so much has been wiped out. Arts has more. But the point is, the snake eating itself. It looks like a circle, but it's really a spiral, because every time, even though it feels like we're coming back to the same point, we're never in the same point. And when we look at time, time is an illusion. Everything's happening at one time in reality, because there really is no time, and we are eternal beings. And if you are secure in that knowledge that you are independent of your body, if you've ever had an out-of-body or a near-death experience or past life recollection, then you know, and you're just on a different playing field. And when you do know, there's no guesswork. We could certainly guess about details, but the one thing that I know for sure is that I'm not my body. And again, just to touch lightly, keep a dream journal if you want to start developing the ability to control your dreams with lucid dreaming. And also, it'll let you know when you're literally out and about in the parallel realities when you're sleeping, and when you're just basically processing things. But we do get messages all the time from our guides. And I don't mean me and Cindy. I mean everybody.
Everybody.
You just
right.
can't hear them if you're not hearing them, or if you say I'm not sleeping, I'm not dreaming. Okay, well, there's a reason why people don't have the regular cycle like they should, and it's again tied into the pineal, partially. It is pineal related, and when your pineal is functioning optimally in producing the happy, feel-good melatonin and serotonin, so you could go into that deep cycle and get your messages. The other part of it is every time you take antibiotics, you're wiping out the gut microbiome, which is so much of your immune system, and it's also tied into our thoughts and clarity of thinking. So they have us coming, they have us going, but you can overcome because, again, their time's running short, not ours.
Mm-hmm. It's something that we really need to stay focused on, stay on track. We're trying to help as many people as possible. There's many of you out there supporting us in some way, shape, or form, and I want to just say thank you for a moment, whether that be on Patreon, other ways, whether that be the thumbs up, whether that be sharing these videos. We are doing this together. We are all in it together. It's something that we need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I showed Cindy, I said, wow, first time since May 2019, when they demonetized Evolutionary, that we actually did not lose not Patreons, but subscribers to Evolutionary. We actually did not lose subscribers in a day, because we've been net lossing for 5 years, ever since we showed something that tied into the whole developing world scenario back in 2019. And then, of course, they did the video on the Rocky guys, and they're back to subtracting. It's
Right.
okay, because I don't love this system, but I do love the earth. I do love Tiamat. I do love all the animals and birds and plants, and this system, the dark matrix, is evil, but not the entirety of the planet. And that's where I don't agree with the Gnostics, or the mainstream Gnostic, because not every Gnostic person that would categorize themselves as Gnostic thought that way again. But they were persecuted. They saw horrible persecution unto the death of loved ones, complete families. Again, this is what the system does. So the snake eating its tail is a big symbol that they're going to bring about that economic reset in the coming year. As far as they have to initiate it to a higher degree. I feel they're behind schedule. I feel that they're not hitting their goals. I feel that they're pretty desperate. So you have to be wary of a desperate animal.
Mm-hmm. Definitely keep gathering your tangibles. Stay on your path. Find your spiritual practice, and we're all going to get through this together.
Absolutely. We can learn from history in order to not repeat it, and to also know what traps they're going to be laying out there, what webs they're going to be weaving, or what they're going to use to try to lure us into biting on something that's going to hook us into their system.
Indeed.
As always, guys, much love and gratitude. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.